Shalom, shalom, family. It's Brother Malak, and hopefully everyone is doing wonderful today. You know, a few days ago I spoke about some of the bad doctrines in Israel, and I was saying that a lot of these doctrines are there to be a stumbling block. So what I want to do today, family, is I really want to address a verse that people use out of context, and that's Romans chapter 13. And hopefully, family, we can actually get the true meaning behind what Paul was saying by looking at the history, by looking at the culture, by looking at the law, and by looking at the prophecy, because they all line up. Remember, family, this book, it doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about my feelings. It doesn't care about your mom's, your dad's feelings, your so-called moray, what have you. See, in Israel, we like to follow the crowd. We like to not only follow the crowd, but we go with what's popular or things that make us feel good. And this is probably going to be uncomfortable for certain people because, you know, a lot of people use Paul's writings in error. And just like Paul's writings were a stumbling block to our people then, they're a stumbling block to our people nowadays, because again, they would rather believe what Paul say than to actually believe what thus says Yah. So what I want to do, family, is I want to actually, before we even get off into that verse, let me set the tone by going to another scripture, or another verse, and we're going to go to 2 Peter in chapter 3 and start off at verse 15. And account that the long suffering of our Adonai Yeshua, even as our beloved brother Shaul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. So again, because a lot of people they'll go run to Paul when it's convenient, when it makes them feel good. Before we go there, let's go to Romans. We're not going to go to actually Romans 13, but let's go to Romans 15. Romans 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures may have hope. So even Paul telling you have to go to the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times our people are so emotional, they would just take something, they would take a verse and just run with it. Now remember, Paul was brought up on charges for breaking the laws of his fathers as well. And just like he had to defend himself, it's sad that a lot of brothers have to defend Paul nowadays. Not that he's not here to defend himself, but we have to defend Paul by actually trying to give you the right mindset what Paul was writing for or writing from. Because again, Paul said himself he fully believed in the laws of his fathers. You know what I'm saying? So it's impossible for people to take Romans chapter 13, which we're going to get from the mindset they were saying, it would just follow the laws of the land. But we're going to deal with that in a second. Just hold on. This book was written by Hebrews for Hebrews. Let me repeat that one more time. The book was written by Hebrews for Hebrews. That may be hard for some people to swallow, even in Israel. But let's go to Romans chapter 13 and start off at verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Elohim. The powers that be are ordained of Elohim. Whosoever therefore resists the power, resists the orders of Elohim. and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For ruler are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So again, people like to say, well, Paul was saying, follow the laws of the land. For the simple, for the people that are simple. I'm not telling you to go out there and break the laws of the land. I'm not telling you that at all. In fact, many of the laws that the land have taken are out of Torah, or out of the Hebrewic mindset. But there's also a lot of laws that are contrary to the word of the Most High. So we have to have that in mindset. Everything has context. Because again, family, again, like I said, there are those that amongst us that will just love to run to Paul when it's convenient to them. But Paul was writing to Hebrews, right? He was writing to Hebrews, and he was a Hebrew himself, circumcised on the 8th day. You know what I'm saying? Born in the custom of his forefathers, believing in the prophecies, right? But anyway, if that's the mindset you're going to have, family, that you have to obey the laws of the land, again, for the simple, there are laws that Caesar has created, and Caesar is going to be government, for those that may not get it. There are laws that Caesar has created that, again, he who creates the contract controls it. But there are things that are contrary to the word of the Most High. Like, for example, this government passed laws legalizing slavery. It's against the law in Torah for you to enslave a man, especially when there's no death involved. It's against the law. Matter of fact, you enslaving a man against his own will is punishable by death. Even to add even further, it's illegal for you to work a man without paying him for his labor. Not only did they kidnap you, they worked you and didn't pay you, pay your ancestors. So again, we see clearly that everything these people made legal was against Torah. Thou shalt not steal. These people stole your identity, stripped away your culture, your language. Again, we know that the Most High said this was going to happen to us. And guess why, family? Because we wanted to follow the nations. And here it is, Negroes are telling you that's what Paul was saying. That's not what Paul was saying. He was talking to Hebrews. He was writing to Hebrews. That's the context. I tell you what. Let's just go to the law. Let's just go to the law. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh thy Elohim shall choose. One from among thy brethren shall thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not, let me repeat that again, thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So again, now these people are telling you to set a king over you that's not your brother. And when we look at historically, our people have voted for kings over us, and you see what happened? Nothing. Nothing. You're the only people in this country have a voting rights bill. Nobody else has a voting rights bill, but you still are trying to fight for equality. These people not only have you're the only people that not only have a voting rights bill, you're the only people that have a civil rights bill. No, ain't nobody else have a civil rights bill. So you see the folly in that mindset. But that's what happens when you set a king over you. That's not of your brethren. Remember, family, this is exactly what got us into trouble. You know, many of our people wanted to assimilate into the nation's culture that was around us, and they're doing the same thing. They're telling you that's basically the mindset of Paul, and that's not what Paul was saying. He was writing again to Hebrews. I tell you what, let's do this simple. Let's go to the book of Joshua. Let's go to the book of Joshua. And again, we went to the law. Let's get a little history, because we know the backstory that, the children of Israel, they came out of Egypt and stuff like that. So let's go to Joshua chapter 24, and let's get verse 15. And if it seems evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose ye this day whom ye will serve, whether the elves which your father served, which were on the other side of the flood, or the elves of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. See, again, family, it's the same mindset. When you're choosing a king over you, you're going to serve their gods. That's what you're doing. And a lot of people use that in error because, again, they really don't want to follow the Most High. They'll say how much they love the Most High, but deep down in their heart, they really don't love the Most High. That's why they'll always go to Paul. They'll never go to the law. They'll never go to the culture. They'll never go to the history. They never even go to the prophecy. Which, let's do that. Let's go to one of the prophecies. And I hope you can see this, family. I really hope you can really see this. Because again, like I said, family, it's not hard at all to really destroy those doctrines. It's not hard at all. You just have to be willing to go get the history, the culture, you know what I'm saying, the prophecies, and the law. And the book explains itself. The book explains itself. So let's go to Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Before we read on, family, why would the devil throw you into prison? He won't throw you into prison for following his laws. He'll throw you into prison for following the laws of the Most High. Let that sink in for a minute. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. See, that's what this is really about, family. That's what it's really about. See, a lot of these people are trying to save their life. That's what it's really about. But you're going to try, again, like the script says, those that are trying to save their life will lose their life. But those that are willing to lose their life will save their life. That's what it's really about, family. These people are trying to serve two gods. You can serve only one power. Either one you're going to love and the other one you're going to hate. You can only serve one. So anyway, family, I just want to just do this quick video, and hopefully it makes sense to you guys. Again, like I said before, don't believe nothing I say. Study to show thyself approval. The book explains itself, family. Be safe out there. With that being said, as usual, peace, love. Shalom.